Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to another event with ICS Egypt chapter celebrating the 25th anniversary of the ICW. Today webinar have a special test, a magical one. We're gonna try a new technique with Christoffel, 3 brains magical technique. Christoffel is a master certified coach, clinical hypnotherapist, clinical supervisor, founder of the 3 brains theory, visitor at the IE Business School, author of 4 books, Relationships, Which Brain is Talking, How Men and Women Fit, and finally, Understand Partner with 3 brains theory. So what's behind this theory?
Is that the question?
Kind
right
of
away?
magic.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. We start right away. Good to know.
Yes.
Now, first of all, good to see you all. And I put the slide in, at least Kaima could say a little bit. Look for, oh yeah, what did he do? All the things. So this is me, MCC coach. And for everybody who's in ICF, knows what MCC means, and that you work your really hard to get all the credentials done. And I said magic about the 3 brains. What are we going to do the next hour? Going through some science, why it is true. And actually, I could say the funny thing is, in all my research, I actually came aware that you from Egypt already did a couple of thousand years something that we Western people only came aware of 150 years ago with Darwin. So that's a good thing. So what is my idea? And one thing I saw, and I don't know if I saw it in the invitation, but we'll come back to that later. I have a 3 brains preference test. So which brain you choose from by nature. I will show you a couple of times the link. If you didn't do the test, it's a free test. It takes you 5 or 10 minutes, but gives you right away an insight. Hey, where do I choose from when I'm not thinking it through, when I'm not paying attention, what do I do? And what's my normal behavior? What is my idea? How does it connect with coaching? You're here from ICF. How does it connect with coaching? What can you learn from it? What can you do with it? What is the magic of our 3 brains? And a gift by the end of the presentation, as I made an agreement with that first with Kaima from ICF Egypt, give you something special. And you see here already, if you go to this one, I'll put it in there right away. Oh, no. So copy, because I was looking for it in my thing. Where's the chat? If you do there, you're right away. No, not right away. I would say otherwise you cannot follow my presentation. You can do the free test. And you can just see how your score is. And this for free has now gadgets around it. You just get a beautiful email back because hey, this is your preference. So for the people are here, let's just do a little check how we make normally decisions. So we become aware about what is now so magical about our 3 brains. And how does it work actually with us? There you are. So now just imagine for a moment, you are a manager. Your company is doing not so good because the last years they thought they would grow massively, hired many people, and now they become aware, oh, we have to sack some people to keep it going. So they made the decision, half of the employee staff goes away. They do not do it like Elon Musk sent you a tweet. They do it a little bit more decent. So the board has an idea from, you have a team of 10, 5 people should go. And they provide you some ideas. One of the ideas the board has is says, production-wise, it's the wisest to let go of the 5 old people in your team, or the 5 eldest people in your team. Because a job is a physical job. Now, makes sense. The only consequence is, based on their age, based on that was a physical job, probably they never find a job again. It will have a negative effect on their income. Secondly, they say, you can also let go of the younger employees. Those people will probably find the job extremely easy. Based on their age, based on the experience they did with us. That's good. The third one, they say, we hired some smart consultants and they said, why don't you do LIFO? Last in, first out. It's not age related, it's just when they entered the company. If you would do that math, you come aware 5 people work longer than 15 years for the company. And 5 people joined the last 2 years in that predicted growth that did not happen. If you do this, you keep 3 older people and 2 younger employees in your team. The 4th option is I cannot choose of these 3 options. Dear board, can I do something totally different? Which one would you choose now? Based on these 4 options. So just put them in the chat, please. What would you choose? And there is no right or wrong, it's just your preference. And for everybody who I don't see, but still is listening to me, just look at your phone or your computer, stop working, just click your answer. B, Ludo is B. C, yes. So the others are all silent, so probably they are still working and thinking they are listening to us. So the fact that they don't respond to us means actually they don't pay attention and missed already something extremely important. So in these 2 questions, actually, you break my statistics, and that's a good thing. D, Emmanuel, thank you so much, because now you bring the score 75%. Thank you so much for doing so. And Gaima, if you're listening, you can also make your choice for ICF Egypt.
No, it would be my choice, not the ICF.
Okay, so you can make your choice, A, B, C, D. Because then at least we have 4, so it is a little bit more. Okay, D. So, you know, it's a funny thing. I did this test more than 1,500 times already. All the coaches chooses for C or D, and sometimes, at least 80%, choose for a B or sometimes an A, like Ludo just did. So Ludo is part of the 20%. Good job, Ludo.
Yeah.
But 90% of the product or finance directors choose A. So now for you, say you had to now verbalize A to the people. How would it feel for you? How would you experience? But okay, Chris, I will just swap to A, no problem. I'll do it. Or do you feel some resistance inside you? Some resistance. Love your honesty, Leah. If I pronounce it correctly. It can also be Leah, but I think Leah it is.
Leah it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Leah. Because, so now just imagine, you feel resistance. Now just imagine we're coaching that production or finance director. How would they feel? Probably the same resistance, only swapped on answers. So if you have issues with changing, how easily can our clients change them? Or do we expect something from them we can actually not do by ourselves? And then the last question in that part, and we're connected with the magic of the 3 brains, who exactly inside you is making you feel that resistance? Because I said actually feeling, because it's not here, it's not a logical thought. Because it's based, where's it based on? Values, beliefs, how you perceive the world. It's the heart, yes, absolutely, Leah. And you feel it in your heart. Your heart is somewhere making a decision, don't do that. So if your heart is making a decision, then actually step already in the beautiful science of the magic of the 3 brains. Because how can your heart make the decision? And the funny part is when I do this exercise and I share this say with clients, then I change, by the way, coaches for most times consultants, not to put myself in that spot right away, or say advisors, or say something more in the theoretical line, because therapists really only choose for C or D. That's actually 95%. Not really, because also sometimes choose B a lot. Therapists also go to B. And when I do that, and I share it with the clients, what do you think clients say? So, hey, Chris, why are you not thinking logically and go for A? Because the company is doing bad. We have to save money. So this is the most logical question. The more Okay, that's where it's going wrong, probably. If I do this,
you're good. You're good. You're back.
This is better now.
I'm back. Okay, for some odd reason, Zoom changed me to a different microphone. So I was put on my laptop, what I have here, and that's closed. So yes, the microphone is almost not, it doesn't hear anything. So I thought, what happens? Okay, we're back. We're back. Okay, that's good. This is just actually for everybody who is not really there. Thinks what's happening? Is something wrong with my camera, or is something wrong with my presentation now? But we just there. Okay. So coming back, we and our clients have a difference in how our heart and gut actually makes decisions. And after this, we go back. What do I mean with heart and gut? What's the brains? So we in our coaching already can come aware. How can we make the best connection with our clients? Because I think we all know from the ICF, also core competences, a connection with the client, what we call in neuro-linguistic programming rapport, is rather essential. And so how can you do that the best if you have the different values and belief systems? Now, for the people who still like to know, hey, you talk about your score, you talk about this test quiz, what is it actually? Send to everyone. So for later after this presentation, you can do the test by yourself again and come aware what is my score, if you're interested in that. So let's now go to the three brains and what's the magic of it. What's the biology of the three brains? Now, in the old days, at least I was teaching, we have three brains based on evolution. We have a reptilian brain, an emotional brain, and a neocortex human brain. Who still believes that? You can already see that it's actually bull-ish. Okay, Ludo, after this, I can say it's not allowed to say that it's true anymore. You cannot do that. And that's not because I say it, because why won't you believe me? But neuroscientist Lisa Barrett-Feldman, who wrote many books about, say, the heart and other kind of things. She wrote the last book, The 7.5 Lessons of the Brain. Also put all the scientific proof in there why it's not. And the proof is actually that in a reptile, say a crocodile, if you would open up its DNA, you will find that they have the same DNA setup as us partly. At least they have a DNA setup, everything that could make a limbic brain and a neocortex. Only epigenetics does not turn it on. So based on that they have the possibility and it is not done, means we cannot say, hey, evolution made it. As crocodiles, who are already 200 million years on this earth, has it. So that does not make sense. And the beauty of it is, when you look at it in another way, from which brain is now in charge, which brain is now working, I could say, meet our living ancestor.
it's still an animal. If you go in, now maybe not in Cairo in the sea, because I don't know how polluted the sea now there is, but if you go to Hurghada and go into the sea, the Red Sea, you'll find all these little animals, living creatures actually. This is living in the sea, and actually in the ID, we all originate from this. So what is it? It lives in the sea, and if you love snorkeling or diving, you've seen this many, 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 many times. If you love vegetables, you could maybe even find it in your fridge. I put it in chat, so you know at least. It's a sea cucumber. Now, why do I put it in there? What's the most amazing thing of a sea cucumber? What is it missing? What does it not have? I'll tell you the answer. Oh. It doesn't have a brain, absolutely, Leah. It doesn't have a heart, it doesn't have a head. So you could right away ask yourself then, how is it possible that everything is happening? Eh? And if you now look at us as humans, if you go from the tip of your tongue to the part where you exit the processed food, you will become aware there's almost the same setup as the sea cucumber. You could actually say we are a sea cucumber with a heart, arms and legs, and a head on top of it. And so if this is happening, a reptile has somewhere the same setup in its DNA to have a totally functioning brain. We actually are originating actually from a living stomach. What happened there? Are we getting a recording later? I don't record, but I see if Egypt does. So you could. What I can do for you, and I will say it right away, also said yes.
Yes.
If you like to have the slides, you send me, you click on this, you click on what I now just put in the meeting chat, you click on it, send me an email, and you get the slides as a PDF. I love to share them, so you have them. Okay. So the gut brain, the magic of the three brains. What's the magic of the gut brain? In the Western world, the book from Michael Gershwin, The Second Brain, described we have a totally functioning brain in our gut. Everything underneath your diaphragm has 500 million brain cells. And it can work totally independently as a brain. How does it communicate and how is it in charge of us? It produces almost all the serotonin. It produces almost all the cortisol. It produces massive amount of dopamine. It produces neoperiférine, put us in action, neoperiférine to put in action, benzodiazepines to get us relaxed. It has all the neurotransmitters, or you can call hormones, to regulate all our mood sets, except one. It does not have oxytocin, the love hormone. That is somewhere else stored. Now, to give you the proof about the gut brain and why it is so important, what's the magic of it? I just show you a little 1-minute video of Michael Gershwin. This is Michael Gershwin. This, and he will say it also, is the small intestine of a guinea pig. And it only has, the nerve system, hence the nerves, the brain cells still connected. Nothing else is there. In the right one, the nerve system, hence the brain cells are removed. They put twice a little pellet inside the intestine. And now just see what's happening. By the way, do we have sound? I'm just going to do a stop share for a second, because it's nicer if I do share with sound. So at least you see what's happening. So we're back again. Now you have sound.
Now you notice this is a guinea pig intestine and there's nothing there. The brain and the gut and the guinea pig are in the garbage, and the bowel has detected that pellet and it's moving it along. And that is the law of the intestine, the peristaltic reflex, oral contraction, anal relaxation is propelling. And if you take the intrinsic circuitry out and put the pellet in, nothing happens. The muscle twitches a little, but it doesn't move. So that was
So what does this prove? Your small intestine can detect something by itself. Based on what it detects, it can make a decision. What am I going to do with it? And based on that decision, it can take an action. Without it, anything else is connected. By the way, only your small intestine and big intestine can do that movement. Your liver, your kidney, your heart, your head actually cannot make those kind of things, although your head is different because it's not an organ in that part. So this is what it does, say, with the primary instinct of food or something inside it. But if you now think, where do you feel fear or anxiety? You feel it also in your gut, because in that moment, your gut has in my words, an ID, something dangerous is happening. It actually detects the danger based on what's happening from outside signals or from inside signals, and is communicating with you from, hey, take action, take action. And that's why you have that feeling in your stomach. Yeah.
The coordinate.
If we go on, the other magical thing, the heart brain. The heart brain in Western society was actually already introduced also in the 90s, beginning of the 90s, by neurocardiologist André Moore. He did a research project because he was a cardiologist. Hey, what am I seeing? What's happening? And he became aware of it. It has all the qualifications also to be called a brain. So all the proteins, all the neurons, all the other things. And I told you just before, the gut has all the hormones and neurotransmitters except one. The except one is produced, except also by your amygdala, by your heart, oxytocin. What does oxytocin do? It's the love hormone. Oxytocin makes mommy love their baby even though they had 24 hours of labor. Oxytocin makes you love your partner even though sometimes they're not the sweetest to you. Oxytocin keeps you bonded. Oxytocin makes you connected. It's the bonding one. It also produces dopamine to learn, the reward drug, and it produces neuropilin to put you in action. I'll give the word now to André Moore about how he invented it. The answer is yes, actually, because after this, I became aware it has unique type of intelligence. Okay? Because where do you feel when you're heartbroken? Well, in your heart. That's almost a no-brainer when the sentence is like that. So what's now the magic of the three brains if you would connect with them? And I don't have a separate slide of the head because the head is the most known we know. Go on YouTube, go somewhere else, you'll read everything about the neuroscience, what's happening here. But they miss most times this. So if you go to the facts, responsibility, and how do we notice them? The fact of the gut brain is, it's 500 million years old, by the way. But then somewhere it came aware, that little sea cucumber, 500 million neurons. That's something the same as a cat's brain. And so what the cat has in his head, we have in our tummy. The same capacity, if you would look at it. What is the responsibility of your gut? Is actually to keep you alive, to keep you safe, to establish personal success. Just like actually a sea cucumber. It has the same responsibilities and life mission as a sea cucumber. Eat, reproduce, stay there. How do we notice it? So how can we notice it in ourselves? Fear, anger, rage, survival mechanism, fight or flight. Lust and desire. Otherwise we would not have little babies on this world, and otherwise we would not do things that makes us successful. We can experience hunger and thirst, of course, otherwise we would also die. And we have disgust to protect us from other kind of things. And that's what we notice inside us. That's how they communicate with us. That's when you feel that anxiety in your tummy. That's when you feel that, where do you feel hungry? Also in your tummy. Where do you feel disgust? Also in your tummy. Where do you have really the real lust? Now a little bit lower than your tummy. The heart brain as we have it as a warm-blooded heart, so 4 heart chambers, not the reptile 2 heart chambers cold-blooded, something like 70 million years ago. It has less neurons, but it has much bigger power. Because where the gut communicates with all his neurotransmitters or hormones, the heart can also do 2 things more. What can it do more besides releasing the neurotransmitters? What does it do 60 times on average in a minute? Boom, 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 boom. I will come to your question, Yasmin, back in 2 seconds, 3 seconds actually. The physiological boom boom is an electromagnetic field, that can be measured 6 meters outside your body. That pulsation of electric energy is 5,000 times stronger than in your head. It's actually communicating with us. And after every boom, 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 your amygdala, 7 milliseconds later, sparks up based on the information it gets from the heart. Go left, go right, go up, go down. What I mean, release these neurotransmitters because I feel at ease, I feel more stressed, I feel anxious, I feel whatever it feels. Your heart gives actually directions to the amygdala what kind of neurotransmitters should be released. And we can feel it or we can notice it as love, compassion, hate, sadness, guilt, shame, and it is the source of values of good or wrong. When I said earlier, the Egyptians already knew the massiveness of this, because do you know what the Egyptians removed from all their pharaohs? Hey, you're from Egypt, so at least I should now get 22 right answers.
Don't they remove all organs?
No, not all organs. The heart. No, Jasmine. Oh, don't tell me. They had a special little hook. They went through the nose and peeled out everything that was above the nose. They peeled out the brain, yes, because the heart was seen as the center of the soul and of wisdom and intuition in the Egypt, really old wisdom. That's already 2,000-3,000 years ago, eh? You people already knew from, okay, the head is less important than the heart. Let's just throw it away. Because the head is not so unimportant, or but it's not in charge. It's freaking amazing thing. Eh? It has 20% of all our energy. 20% of all our oxygen is used there. It has 100,000 million neurons, more than stars in the Milky Way. It's freaking amazing, awesome. But it only has actually one real responsibility. Give me the right answer. Because did you ever thought, why do we have memories? What is the use of memorizing so much? If you think about survival, only to help you to give a better prediction for the future. Otherwise, there's no use for it. Otherwise, there's no use of having so much. Because if you only have language, just like the crows, you don't need such a big brain. But we're humans have a massive storage there to give us actually advantage of that besides to have language. There are 2 things actually that the head has, what makes us unique in our thing, what the other ones don't have. It actually almost makes us unique in the whole world, except elephants, dolphins, orcas also have that. The really advanced mammals. And that is they have time. Oop, don't go there. Oh, wow. Don't push all the buttons when you're stressed, Chris. This is a proof, by the way, if you're in stress, your neocortex gets turned off. And then you do intuitively an action, and before you know that is the wrong one. And there's 2 things. It is time and words. Why is it so important? Time is what we learn at which age. At which age do we learn what is tomorrow, what's yesterday? On average. I give you somewhere a hint. On which age do we, on average, learn what is tomorrow, what's yesterday? I give you already a hint. Do you see the hint?
5.
5. Good, Leah. Yeah. Amazing. Yes, just because some people think, where's the hint? I don't see it on the slides. Yes, it's 5. And before 5 up to 7, you don't know actually what is last week and next week. So there was no brain before 5 million years ago. Ludo, yes, there was, but not in this thick size. So we have, all those wrinkles there. We had a neocortex, only much, 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 much smaller, much thinner. Before 5 million years ago, it didn't have the capacities as we have now. Because as I said, reptiles already have the setup to have it. So it is there, only then in a really, if you would look at, say, the neocortex, it's the gray matter, not the limbic brain, not the cerebellum, because that's always there. When I talk about the head brain, good that you asked it, I talk about the gray layer, what we call the neocortex. That neocortex, if you go to primary instinct animals, it's almost like a little sheet. If you go to us, it looks like a walnut. So we all had more than 5 million years ago that little sheet there, or a little bit developed sheet, but not in the size we have it now. How old is reptilian brain then? Something like 200 million years ago.
Oh, so
Then-
after the gut brain.
Yeah, after the gut brain. So if you look, say, at evolution as they know it now, if I say as they know it now, we started as that little animal, a living creature, just food in, food out. When we moved to land, and the reptiles came, and actually big dinosaurs, those kind of stuff, and we can say it's 300 million years ago, then actually it started to get created. And it stayed there until, say, something like 70 to 90 million years ago. Really, the warm-blooded animals, the mammals, started really to get more traction there. Warm-blooded animals really need a different kind of heart, because we have to keep our temperature on 37 degrees. That also sparked living in groups and giving a different kind of social situation. Yeah? Giving living birth instead of producing eggs. Although birds do the same, but have still an emotional brain. So I just make it a little bit more black and white, because there are some interloops in the evolutional tree. And this is somewhere where you can say it. And so when I talk, you're right. Thanks for saying that, Ludo. The neocortex, I say it is the head brain in that part. In your question, intuition, Jaswin, because I said I would come back to that. Intuition is actually sensing outside our normal senses. Intuition is having knowledge that is not coming from here. It's actually knowledge coming in from there, based on the sensory systems, based on old memories, based on what they observe actually. Why I say it's going here, because our nerve system goes 10% down and 90% up. If you would look, say, at the axons, the nerve system. So our sensory systems we also have here. Yeah? You could compare it, say, did it ever happen to you that you came into a room and you sensed something happened here? And say people are there, eh? Maybe it's a gathering of people. You come in and say, hey, I sense like it is a different atmosphere, like they just had a discussion or something else. Oh, and yet you say, hey, the atmosphere feels really tensed here, really thick. Now, that is not what you observe or what you see, but something like you sense energy-wise. And as you go to quantum physics, we can receive and detect things that quantum physics only can explain. So your heart and your gut and actually your whole body can sense things without, say, the normal senses of smell, taste, hearing, eyes. That sensory system actually we have. So when we freeze, it's not the reptilian brain triggering our muscles. Now, actually, Ludo, if you go up, it's your gut who sends that signal to the cerebellum. That's reptilian brain. The dorsal vagal nerve, that is part of, say, the parasympathetic nerve system, is right away connected from your gut system via your spine, and it ends in your cerebellum, what we call the reptilian brain, just above your brainstem. There it actually ends or starts, whatever you like to say. And they communicate right away together. So, of course, you can see something via your eyes, and so then the signal comes first there. But right away, the sensory systems go there. There's other research done that actually comes aware that you sense it before you see it. that's a little bit, then we go really into quantum physics and all the kind of stuff. And that becomes always a little bit, say, tricky because people say prove it. Now, there is research done that proves it, but because it's going into the quantum physics and it is not physical, you can observe it, but you cannot always explain it. So let's not go there, but it is true. It happens. The same as you have energy systems. Now, this is what happens with us. Now, if you go back to coaching and go back to your magical three brains, why it is so magical, your three brains? Because they have a different responsibility, as I said. If you put it, say, in one slide, in 1 or 2 words, the mindset of the gut brain is winning. If you just put one, I could say survive or life. Well, that's actually the mission. If you would say in behavior, they like to win. Because if they win, they survive. Hence, everybody who's an Olympic gold medal winner, actually silver and bronze also, are winners, have a gut brain. Every CEO who got there with his elbows and somewhere else has a massive gut brain. What's the pitfall of having a dominance in your gut brain? You always think about me first. It is actually the most egocentric part of us that is there, but it keeps you alive. You can think when there is a stampede, and say yesterday Liverpool played for Liverpool played soccer, or last weekend, and they were remembering actually the dramas they had in the Champions League. When there was a crash, everybody wanted to run out of the stadium, and I think 40 people died in total. Last year, what happened in, was it Hong Kong? Had that stampede in those little streets. People like to move, run away, and run over each other. If you make it a little bit less dramatical, who of you watched the movie Titanic? Yes. Now then you know how people like to survive and actually what they do to get in that little boat there. That's the me first attitude. What's the downside, or what is actually their fear? To be vulnerable. If you like to detect a gut brain, and I write it also down in my book because that's about relationships, you can just test it. You just ask the person you're with, how many times did you actually say sorry in your life? If they have to think really deep, and you like to, and you think oh, this is nice, as a partner, then run away. Because you're really going up for the bad boy or bad girl on that moment. Bad boys or bad girls don't say sorry. If you say much more times sorry, and I see Leo thinking, that's easy to say sorry. That is because you have a big heart brain. Heart brains say easily sorry. Because sorry helps you to stay connected. Now, if you talk about the heart brain, what is its responsibility or mindset? Taking care of others. That's why we as coaches have most times a bigger heart brain in our score. Because you listen to all those stories of others. You listen 1 hour, you ask all questions about them. Don't share your own stories. You can only do that if you take care of others. What is the pitfall? That is Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie Titanic. I'm going to close my door because my dog gets enthusiastic in my little apartment. You know what Leonardo DiCaprio did in Titanic? He let himself drown for Kate Winslet. Come on. Leo. Do you know that Kate Winslet is divorced 3 times? She's not marriage material. Kidding. But that's what the heart brain does. And everybody who's a mom or a dad knows how you wake up 4 or 5 times during the night to give your little baby food. How you clean the diaper and still laugh. Others first. You as a coach probably know that you gave energy to everybody, your clients, your family, your friends, your work, your emails. And at the end of the evening, you think oh, wow, I'm tired. Okay, I did not go to the gym. I really did not cook really properly for myself, but everybody else is happy. Self-care is the worst thing for heart brain people. They do that the less. What's their fear? Before we run out of time, rejection. You cannot be more painful to a heart brain dominant person to say, I don't like you. Really, almost saying to my dog, now I close the door. Broken heart of my dog. Let's go on. The head brain, analyze, analyze, analyze. Let's think this through. What do they like to do? To think it. So what's their pitfall? To give the perfect answers. That's why I do remuneration during the night. What's their fear? To make mistakes. So if you would put that in your 3 magical brains, what happens if we have a strong dominance of one? I need to know, and too much, I need to know. You'll end up in perfectionism, anxieties, or insomnia. So if you do one of those, you know your head brain is rather dominant in your life. If your heart brain is really huge, 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 then actually what could happen is that you go into burnout, being extremely chronic depressed, having chronic diseases, or feel always tired. Besides also some weight issues a lot of time because we don't eat healthy enough. What does the gut brain has as if you do it too much, too much, too much? Toxic leadership, anxiety, control freak behavior, and power-driven behavior. And that's happening what you see. So what's the magic of our 3 brains? Hey, they have 3 different things. But do you know what's the beauty of this? This is really important. Because in a lot of popular psychology, they talk that we have saboteurs inside us. Maybe you heard that. Actually, we don't have them. All the things we do now are coming from this kind of behavior to do the best for us. We learned it in a younger age. In the younger age, it was perfect, amazing, good to keep us bonded, alive, or give the good answers. Only now they are not so useful anymore. So there's actually positive intention that we're still doing. We're doing the right thing in the wrong time. Because it was the right thing in an other time set. Now, having said that, how can we support our coaches? What can we do better? Let's go to solutions when we talk about 3 brains. Why is it hard to change? Now, literature and all the popular books share, if you understand it, if you're willing, if you're able, yes, you can. Now, if that's true, then I always ask those people who said it to me, did you ever had an issue with procrastination, eating unhealthy, setting boundaries or saying no, work-life balances, depression or anxieties? They all say yes. Yes, Ludo, I can also raise 2 hands in that, or I just looked at my own life and thought, oh, okay, I can read it down easily. Only eating unhealthy, maybe not. Even sometimes I do. This is actually happening because one of your 3 brains is in that moment dominant and overtakes the other ones and doesn't listen to them anymore. Or you don't listen to them anymore. But if we had it as coach, it also means our clients had it. If we have issues with overcoming it, probably our clients have the same. So how do you deal with that thing? Now, this is one. What is now the issue with our change is that most of the change concepts work with this principle. The principle of how we learn to walk. Of course, you can put your baby, this is not my baby, by the way. There's a helmet on in his diapers in this thing, although he looks happy. But how do we learn mostly? Is by repetition. We need 36 days at least. How many times do you think a baby falls down on his butt before it learns to walk? I'll give you the answer. 1,000 times. 1,000. So ask yourself, are you willing to put that effort in a change? Falling down 1,000 times, Michael Gretwell, who says 10,000 hours, or doing something half an hour every day for 36 days in a row. Never stopping, 36 days every day. Then you could change an habit. What happens in real science? We can get the presentation. Margot, as I said, I will just type it once more in. 3 Brains Academy, because I don't have your email and all this kind of stuff. Just click on this, send me an email, and you get the slide pack, because I love to share the slide pack. You can see it also because you get the recording, you see all my mails there, you can do it. So what happens in real life and that research shows that 99% stops within 2 weeks. So all those books, micro habits, immunity to change, positive intelligence, and all those kind of gurus, they give you this solution to change. And almost nobody gets the finish line. Only when you are that gold medal winner, it works. And most of us are not the gold medal winner. Yeah. We skip this based on time because we can. So what is the solution? And what is the problem? Super. Why don't they not communicate? Oh, I have to do stop. Oh, we have share, because our 3 brains have 5 systems they work with. We have a normal brain dominance, which you can test in a free test, and it means just listen, like Daniel Kahneman says in Thinking Fast and Slow. You use your primary first dominant brain, and you make a choice: head, heart, or gut. What could also happen? They have a conflict. My heart says yes, but my head says no. That is when you fall for the bad boy. That's when you're standing in front of the fridge. Your head says salad. Your gut says, yummy cheesecake, or whatever it is. What's your preference? Belief systems. Yeah. If you have a really strong belief system, it's hard to think differently. I'm born and raised in a Catholic Jewish environment. If you live in Egypt, you're born and raised in an Islamic things. Just think about the belief systems we inherited from those and how easy or hard they are to change. That stops you somewhere. Then you have also the beliefs from your own family and those kind of things. Men do, women do, or belief systems. I come from a partly Jewish family. For my mom, love is eating her food. So I learned from a young age that one big plate does not show that. But if I eat 2 small plates, it shows. So now I'm say in my 50s, I always put not so much on my plate and I eat 2 plates wherever I am. Because that's a belief system I inherited. You show love and respect for somebody eating more than 1 plate. Does it make sense? No. When I'm somewhere else, no, my mom is not looking. My friends say, Chris, you're really a big eater. They say actually something else. And still inside me says, no, you cannot change that, Chris. You cannot put more on your plate and only have 1 plate. I know, need some serious help. Not kidding. Trauma, okay? When you had abuse, physical abuse, or just had a car accident, the people who went to war, those things can have a massive impact and actually can shut down one of the other brains. I'm also a therapist. I work with people at PTSD, Iraq war, and all those kind of wars. They still believe, although they're in a city, that actually they are somewhere in the desert. And of course, one brain could take the role from another. We call that a lot of times Chardonnay therapy, Ben & Jerry's therapy, or ice therapy, whipped cream therapy, chocolate therapy, that your gut brain is actually taking over the role of making you happy. That stops you. What's the good thing in the last moment for, say, as a coach? We can solve it. We can come aware which brain is talking. Yeah. As I said, my book actually has it as a title, Which Brain is Talking? Because if people communicate, you can come aware based on the language, which brain is probably talking. And if you then connect it with the autonomic nerve system, how they respond actually, how their non-verbal communication is, what's their pull of push behavior based on the intentions they share, you can almost put your finger on it. Aha, this brain is in favor of the change, the supporter. This brain is actually protecting me for changing. It likes to keep me in the comfort zone based on old learnings. And this brain is now in charge. So what I mean with it, you could say, I cannot swallow this, Chris. I cannot swallow the idea of the CEO. That person really makes me puke. No, firing 5 people will break my heart. Do you already have an idea which brain is talking when I say these sentences? Now, of course, this is the easy one. This is a no-brainer. Hey, this is a no-brainer. So based that, you can analyze what is happening. When you analyze it, you can actually make a grid. Okay, so these brains are talking, these brains are not talking. So it gives you a clue which one is in charge. And I had an example there in the last 2 minutes. Quick, the CEO asked one of my clients, I'd like you to be in charge of a project. You have to leave your current job as director, be full-time doing this project. It's extremely important. Existence of the company is depending on it. Are you in? My coach, she calls me and says, Chris, I need you as quick as possible, because I have till tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock to answer to my CEO. I meet him at 7 o'clock in the morning. He says, Chris, the stakes are extremely high. I feel it could damage my career seriously if I fail. My colleagues are already in the project and left also their job. Half of them is not suitable for the project to make it really a success. They should actually be out of the project, means actually being fired. I don't like to be the messenger. It doesn't feel good for me at all. Okay. But it makes sense. I'm actually in charge of this project because already 5 years, I'm totally interested in it. And in my previous company, I was actually leading projects in this. Okay. By the way, I didn't sleep. CEO already texted me 3 times. I didn't respond until 8 o'clock. Can you see in this beautiful example which brain is talking? The head brain says, it makes sense, I'm in charge. The heart says, I don't feel good about firing my employees. The gut brain is saying, hey, stakes are high, I don't like to fail. I could lose my job. I could get serious career issues. And by the way, gut brain's action doesn't let you sleep. So when you have this analysis, you can start coaching. Coaching on which brain should change. Now, what's the issue with it? The magic of the 3 brains, what's also the issue? Oh, get there. If you ask amazing, powerful questions, I cannot fail in this project. How do you know that? What's the proof? What do you need to make this project success? 9 out of 10 will answer, I don't know. I just feel it and it happened before. Because this one doesn't know actually. This one is actually talking, giving you sensations. And most of us have those learnings before the age of 7, when our brain waves still allow us to be in an age of an hypnotic state. Or is that heart-struck trauma that you get fired 3 times? Or it is a belief system that you cannot do that. My colleagues depend on me on this project, cannot fire them. What do you need to change this feeling as a question? I can do A, B, C, but I know for sure it doesn't feel good for me. I can do it, but I will feel extremely bad with it. Okay. Or I don't know. So they could do it in the situation, but still are not happy with it, and long-lasting change will not happen because the internal system pulls them back. Then you have to do something else. That's what we call 3-brain coaching. So coaching where the head is the problem or the protector in my issue in talking, normal coaching helps because it's just creating powerful question, change happens. If the heart and the gut, your magic heart and your gut are a protector, you have to do more. Then 3-brain coaching steps in. Then you have to do a little bit more somatic work or the kind of work. But actually, if you look at the bottom of my slide pack, the 3-brain coach certification training is 40 CCUs where you learn that. That's okay. To sum up, you have to know yourself. You have to know your client. Which brain is talking in your set? Like we did in the first test, A, B, C, D, what do you choose? What is the preference of the client? Be flexible in your own system whilst working with the other system. That's the whole challenge we have. If you'd like to know more about it, I will say the cheapest option is to buy my book. 10 euros on a Kindle, 20 euros in paper. I know it's about relationships. I know it. But it gives you all the insights, almost, what you need to know. If you like to work with things, it gives you insights about how all the things work inside of yourself. And so it's an easy choice. I put them in the chat if you like to see it. The other option is, and that's why my special gift to you, where are you? If you're not an ICF Egypt chapter, you can have up to 500 euros as a discount if you like to follow a training and master this. If you're an Egypt chapter, you have to email me or go to Jaima because you get a special offer, especially for Egypt. And I don't tell you what it is, but it is better than what I just have here in the slides. That's there. This is training. What will you master? It's not interesting. So in the last minutes we have, what would you like to know more? What is your questions? What would you like to know more? And so what kind of questions do you have or whatever? This is the link to be filled out by the attendees to receive their certificates. Also look in the chat because there's an important message if you like to have your CCUs in your certificate. Ludo, what's your question?
Yeah, so I've been using in coaching actually the 3 brains, but I was using the reptilian, emotional, and rational brains instead of what you're describing. And funny enough, I was completely off from what you're explaining, but the power of that is that it forces people to see that they have like a team inside, and that depending on the circumstances, they have to ask themselves which one is leading and how can we get the other 2 involved. So I love your presentation, because thank you very much, by the way, because it gives us another way of presenting it. And I can't wait to see how we can adjust our coaching depending on what we see for the 3 brains. So it's not really a question, it's more a thank you and just an analogy. But the power that I've seen is that really when my clients see that they have 3 brains and that they have to ask themselves, so then one comes in and then it's good.
Perfect. Now, of course, it's beautiful to hear that you already knew about it and that you can just confirm what they said. Of course, always nice. Of course, also sometimes you think, hey, people, what are you talking about? But yes, if you would read my book, you'll see a lot of amazing stories, because you can do amazing stuff if you know where the problem is. I always like to say, all the things we learned in the past, what we can call trauma, belief systems, are all learnings in the past. If you like to change them, actually, you almost have to go to a therapist to change them. And of course, we don't like the therapists, we're coaches. The beauty of 3-brain coaching is what I said, your heart and your gut brain, what don't they have? Time. They always live in the present. So if you connect with PTSD as an example, because everybody understands what PTSD does, it's always living in them now. So if you educate the heart and the gut in the now, it's not there anymore. You can coach them in the now to the future, and it's gone. So we as coaches have an amazing, powerful tool to help people with more serious blocks in their life why they cannot change. So we can do long-lasting change simple quote traumas, belief systems, without becoming a therapist and going to the past and said, oh, what happened when you were 15? We don't have to ask that question anymore, because your heart and your gut believe it's still happening now when you're 35 or 45. And that's what I also love from the 3 brains. It gives us as coaches extremely powerful tools to work with clients in a coaching way. So that's why I also love it. So if you'd like to know more, I sent it a couple of times. If you do my 3 brains test, you can always sign up for a 15-minute free feedback. If you send me an email and like to know more, I'm always willing to ask and answer, because my passion is to bring it to the world, because we can do so freaking amazing good. And you are extremely important for that. You are a coach. You see many, many people, and people trust you to become better. So if you do an amazing job, we can make this world a better place. And just imagine no toxic leadership more and no bad politicians anymore. Would not be that freaking amazing? And I see Jasmine smiling. Yes, it is, because in every country you have wrong politicians. Just imagine that the politician would start working also from his or her heart. Would that not be freaking amazing? But first we have to educate them that it is safe to do so. So that's why you are so extremely important. That's why if you need me, you can always connect with me. Just like Jaime did, and I present with all love for Egypt. And even give a special offer to Egypt, because I really love that you learn more about this. So I think the last words to Jaima, if she's somewhere here.
Yes, Yasmin is asking, I'm working with teenagers and I think this can help.
Oh, absolutely. Yasmin, okay. It sounds like a sales pitch. It's not the meaning. In this book, there's a whole section about teenagers and kids. So from the age 0 to the age 18, I described actually what the 3 brains do already. So really, it is there. And yes, for kids, it's amazing because as a therapist, I worked a lot with kids. Kids are even easier. And if you can work with them, it's amazing. Yeah? Because if you talk about heart and gut, everybody likes to learn it because you can imagine, say you had 3 muscles in your body. And you would come aware that one muscle you don't train. And almost everybody starts training that muscle you don't have. If you have 3 brains and you come aware one brain is working less, people are more eager to work on that brain. It's not strange anymore. So it diminishes a lot of resistance to become complete. So that's why, yes, also for kids, it's amazing. So, and I give the last words to Doha to end this session, because otherwise I keep on talking. And I don't mind keep on talking, but I know you have all end time. So, Jaima, word is for you.
And we
Thank
are
you so
enjoying.
much.
So if you have anything to share with us, we are ready. So just don't forget about the link to fill in order to receive your certificate. And we are done now, Christoffel?
Yes, we are, because we had 1 hour, because in your ICF chapter it says 1 hour. So, and already 5 minutes behind the hour. So
Yeah.
I said I respect time, because maybe people also put in their calendar it's 1 hour. So
Thank you very much.
in that part, I said I'm Dutch, so I live by the clock in that part. So I respect time.
Yeah. Thank you very much for such interesting and amazing webinar. And thank you for all the attendees. And I'm waiting to read the book, then attend the call.
Yes. So love to see you somewhere, or in a talk we have about your 3 brain score, or read the review in Amazon about when you read my book, or an email about it from Chris. It's amazing. Or by the way, I have this question, or maybe in a training. But if you need something, you can always connect with me.
Thank you very much. And have a wonderful evening.
Yes, you too. And blessings to South Africa, Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.